Hello, Home Team Lighthouse. This is your Week 6 update for V.A.M Empire, and I'm your team lead, Kyle Black. I'm excited to get into the updates this week. Not a lot of items, but all very substantial things and pieces and parts to the game, and things are really starting to visually snap together, and it's great. So let's jump in here. On the art side of things, Cornell brought us two really nice visual upgrades to the ship. He's replaced the original thruster that was just a long trail particle effect, and he's really tightened it up to look more like a thruster, and it's a little more dynamic and turns on and off in a more gradual fashion. And then to maintain what we sort of had with the tail effect that was coming from the old particle effect, we have this nice motion trail effect coming off both sides of the ship, and it really looks great as all the ships are flying around. You have these nice little motion trails all over the world. Tyler brought us a brand new weapon called the Mud Digger Missile Launcher. It looks really cool. It's animated in games. The ship, the missile reloads, and then it turns green when the missile is ready to fire again. Excited to show that off in the demo in just a second. And I made a simple little piece of UI art for troubleshooting some new flight mechanics that we'll go over in the code section in just a second. Cornell, of course, had to do a little bit of coding around the nice smooth transition on that engine effect you see. Tyler, his Mud Digger missile launcher is completely tied into the modular weapon system. It has the dynamic UI elements or inspector elements and everything like that inside of Godot, so that was great to see someone come in and take the direction I was going with that and really build something neat with it. So really cool. Hope to see more weapons coming in like that. I was really excited to see something unique and new drop into the game this week. I was really excited. As far as what I worked on, I really jumped into improving the flight model. We sort of just had a frictionless flight model that you were constantly having to retro brake yourself, turn around and burn in the opposite direction to slow the ship down. And I still wanted to maintain that in a sense, so now you can hold the F key if you want to just glide through space without any friction of any kind. But otherwise, the default flight model now will, the ship will brake, throw brakes in the direction you're moving. And if you're moving head on or to the side, it'll just use what we'll call RCS thrusters. And if you spin around completely, you'll see Cornell's new thruster effect kick on and slow the ship down even faster. There was a bug fix or two I fixed in there. Namely, you can no longer put a new line in a character name when you're in the new character creation. There's a paper doll scene in preparation for being able to snap parts on and off to the ship in the inventory. We'll show that off in the demo in just a second. And I believe I've fixed the fresh import clone issue that a lot of new folks were having. Anytime you started you cloned the Git repo and you fired up the game for the first time and it imported all the assets, your Git would tell you that you had 150 some files that all needed to be updated. That should no longer happen anymore. So if that does happen, let me know and we'll see if we can get it fixed. So I really wanted to nail that problem this week. And I found that as Fahad was rejoining the project, and we ran into a few issues because he was still on 3.23, which I realized because we had not truly come out. I might have mentioned it in an update video or something, but there was not a whole lot of information around the Git repo and our documentation and everything to call out that at this point we are officially on 3.3. So it's using this as another chance to call that out, but I've put some notes in prominent places like the Discord and the home base message of the day also has that we're on 3.3 now. So hopefully nobody will run into that in the future, but if you do see someone having trouble, make sure they're on 3.3. And in the sound effects and music department, Andrew has added two new sound effects for the energy weapon and the charge up. And I'll play those real quick in the transition going to the demo here right now. Just a real quick rundown of the new features this week. Start with just the fix here on the new player creation. You can clear the screen, it'll disable the button here. You can't hit enter. And if I type a name, I can either click the button or hit enter and start a new game. Made a call out here that we're on version 3.3 again for anyone that doesn't catch it in the other places, just trying to make that as prominent as I can. And these links here will open the Trello and the README, just as another easy way to get to the information. And we'll jump out in the game here. We'll go over the new flight model. You can see Cornell's new thruster effect, turn on and off, and nice motion trail here. And you can see how the little doodad down here works. Everything's relative to the ship facing up on the screen here. So you can see that the blue icon represents forward thrust and velocity that the ship is carrying, and the green is sort of the retro vector that would need to be used to do something like break the ship. So it's right now it's using a weak RCS thruster forward to slowly bring the ship to a stop, and it'll use the same amount of force if it were flying sideways as well. But if we go from a full sprint, so to speak, and spin right around, you'll see the thruster kind of kick on and bring the ship to a quicker stop. And that's all automatic. You don't have to press anything. And if you don't want that to happen, you just hold the F key and the ship will just keep on gliding. So that if you have, like, say, an enemy here, I always forget that ship, I have to get sound on that. I was like, something's wrong. Why is that not? I can't hear it. We have to get sound on the vampire weapons. But let's see. If I'm flying along and dogfighting, I can shoot backwards without slowing down and letting the ship catch up to me if I have the F key held down. But as soon as I let go of that F key, I'll come to a pretty abrupt stop and keep flying off in another direction. We'll show off the Mud Digger missile here. Find something to shoot. One of the coolest parts about this weapon is the reload animation. You can really see the missiles come out there, and as soon as they're ready to go, you see the green lights and you can fire again. Or you can just hold the fire button down and it'll wait to fire as soon as they're ready. And that's really cool. Really like what Tyler was able to do with the weapon system there. It really shows how flexible it is, and think about new things we can do, like maybe make these missiles heat-seeking or have some homing abilities if we create upgrades for them, or all kinds of things. And it looks like it'd be a good idea to add some explosion effects when they hit their target. But yeah, really cool. Let's jump over to the Trello and look at upcoming tasks and what we got in motion here. All right, here we are on the Trello. Still looking really good this week. Lots of tasks in motion. A few cards did free up here at the end of the week. Particle effects for bullet impacts freed up, and I believe the other card that freed up was friendly NPC ships roving near the base, which and this card's a little awkward because I guess I've been sort of touching on that with the AI code and things like that, but treat this more as an art card, I would think. Maybe I could maybe change that up a little bit, and because we've sort of got the AI working on that there and the sound, so we'll just make that an art card while I'm sitting here looking at it and thinking about it. I added this card, the RCS thruster effect, for the breaking of our ship, but probably something we could use even on NPC and enemy ships to really sell home that effect that I'm creating with the flight model now, where we're breaking in both the, in all different vectors. Right now we already have the thruster there to sell the effect when we're going backwards, but I think it would look really good if there were some RCS white sort of foggy thrusters kind of shooting off the ship in different directions when that effect is occurring. And coming up, we got things to think about, like storing the ships in the main base. You know, so that you, instead of using the F4 dialogue that we've been using, we can park our ships back in the home base and swap them out and go out in new ships. I'm starting to touch on territory that will likely lead to me grabbing this card here, the ship equipment inventory, simply because I've got the paper doll thing started already this past week. So I expect I'll probably end up touching into that a little bit, but certainly could use help on the art if anyone wanted to jump on that. But there are a ton of different things to jump on. Start thinking about actually putting some form of quest or missions and things like that into the game soon here, and that'll involve really fleshing out the home base and having potentially NPCs or stations and things like that where the player will interact and upgrade their ship, upgrade parts, and trade in materials, do things like that. We'll start seeing how that all comes together. But as always, feeling good. A lot of weeks left on the calendar and plenty of stuff to get involved in. And as always, jump in the Discord if you have questions, and look forward to working with you. Talk to y'all soon.